Picture a game show. 3 doors on a stage, bright lights, a buzzer ready to go off, and you, standing center stage, have exactly one choice to make. Behind door number 1, money, right now, today, not a lot, but real and yours. Behind door number 2, more money, but you have to wait 5 years. Behind door number 3, the most money you will ever receive, but you have to wait 8 years. You have 30 seconds to decide. The clock is already ticking. Most people grab door 1 without blinking, and that decision, made in 30 seconds, can cost them $200,000 before they die. This is not a game show. This is Social Security, and the 3 doors are real. If nobody has ever explained this to you clearly, hit subscribe right now, because what you are about to hear could change the shape of your entire retirement. Let me start with something most people already half know but have never seen laid out plainly. Social Security is not a gift from the government. It is not charity. It is money you put in. Every paycheck you ever earned, a slice went into a fund with your name attached to it. For most working Americans, that is 30, 40, sometimes 50 years of deposits. The question was never whether you would get it back. The question, the only question, is when you ask for it. And the answer to that one question determines 2 things: how much you get every single month and how much you get for the rest of your life. Here is the part that shocks people. The government does not give everyone the same amount. They give you a number, and then they adjust that number, up or down, based entirely on when you walk through the door. Walk through too early, and they subtract. Permanently. Walk through at exactly the right time, and you get your full amount. Walk through late, and they add. Also permanently. There is no undo button. Whatever door you choose, the number gets locked in for the rest of your life. So let us go through every door together. The first door opens at 62. This is the earliest you can claim. And it is the most popular door in America. More than a third of people walk through it without ever looking at the other 2. Why? Because they see the sign on the door and it says, money, available now. And after decades of work, that sounds very good. But here is what the sign does not say. The sign does not say what happens the moment you step through. The moment you claim Social Security at 62 instead of your full retirement age, which for most people born after 1960 is 67, the government reduces your monthly benefit, permanently, by up to 30%. Let that number sit for a second. If your full benefit at 67 would have been $2,000 per month, claiming at 62 drops that to roughly $1,400 per month. Every month. For the rest of your life. That is $600 less every single month. Not just this year. Not just for 5 years. Every month. For as long as you live. If you live to 85, which is around the average life expectancy for someone who makes it to 62, that is 23 years of $600 shortfalls. Do the math. That is $165,600 in lost income. And that is just against the full retirement age. Against door number 3, the gap is even larger. Is door 1 ever the right answer? Yes. I am going to be honest with you here, because this is not about scaring you. It is about giving you the real picture. If your health is poor and your doctor has quietly told you things you did not want to hear, door 1 might make sense. You take what you can while you can. If you have no savings, no other income, and your rent is due, door 1 might be the only door that keeps the lights on. Taking something is better than nothing. But if you are in decent health, if you have some savings, if there is even a small chance you will see your 80th birthday, door 1 might be the most expensive decision you ever make. And most people make it in 15 minutes. The second door opens at your full retirement age. For anyone born in 1960 or later, that is 67 years old. This is the baseline. The number the government calculated based on your full earnings history. No reduction. No penalty. your complete, earned benefit. For the average American, that is somewhere around $1,800 to $2,200 per month in 2026. For people who earned more throughout their careers, it can be significantly higher. Walking through door 2 feels solid, fair, earned. You did not take the early discount. You waited, and you get exactly what you were promised. The question is this the best door? For many people, yes. If you retired at 62 and have been living off savings for 5 years, walking through door 2 at 67 feels like a relief. The Social Security check starts coming. The savings can slow down. The pressure eases. If your spouse has already claimed on their own record, door 2 can also be the right call for you. It creates a more balanced income picture without making either of you wait too long. Door 2 is not wrong. It is stable. It is the default. For millions of Americans, it is the right answer. But there is one more door. And if you are in good health, genuinely good health, not wishful thinking, what is behind this last door might surprise you. Before I open door 3, because what is behind it is going to change the way you think about this, I want to ask you something. Is there someone in your life right now, a parent, a sibling, a neighbor you care about, who is about to make this decision without having all the information? Because the thing about this choice is that once it is made, it cannot be unmade. Pause this video for 30 seconds. Send it to that person. Right now. You can finish watching after. But they need to see this before they make the call. Okay. Door 3. This is the door almost nobody chooses. And it is, mathematically, the most powerful financial decision most retirees never make. If you wait until 70 to claim Social Security, not 67, not 68, but the full 8 years past 62, the government adds 8% per year to your benefit for every year past your full retirement age. From 67 to 70, that is 3 extra years, 24% on top of your full benefit. But compared to door 1, compared to claiming at 62, the total difference is 76%. 76%. If door 1 would have given you $1,400 a month, door 3 gives you roughly $2,470 a month. That is $1,070 more every month for life. Over a 15-year retirement, from 70 to 85, that is $192,600 in additional income. Over a 20-year retirement, reaching 90, that is $256,800. That is your grandchildren's college fund. That is your medical bills, paid without panic. That is the trip you always said you would take when you had the money, and now you do. But I am going to give you the full picture, because waiting has a cost too, and pretending otherwise would not be honest. Here is the uncomfortable math. If you choose door 1, age 62, you start collecting immediately. 8 years before someone who waited until 70. 8 years of checks. That is real money. In the bank. Compounding. So the question becomes, when does the person who waited actually catch up? This is called the break-even point, and it is around age 80 to 82. If you live past 82, the person who waited wins. Total lifetime income is higher. If you do not reach 82, the person who claimed early collected more in total. That is not a trick. That is just arithmetic. So ask yourself an honest question. Not the question you want to answer. The question that matters. How long do you expect to live? Look at your parents. Look at your grandparents. Look at your own health. If the honest answer is, I probably will not make it far past 80, door 1 might be right for you. But if you have any reason to believe you might see 85, 88, 90, the math is not close. The person who waited through door 3 has significantly more money in their later years. The years, by the way, that tend to be the most expensive. Because here is the thing nobody tells you about getting old. The years that are cheapest are often the early retirement years. You are healthy. You cook at home. You go on the road trip. The years that are most expensive are the later ones. The prescriptions. The specialist visits. The help around the house. The possibility, statistically a 70% chance, that you will need some form of paid care before you die. Door 3 does not just give you more money. It gives you more money exactly when you are most likely to need it most. Let me tell you about two sisters, Margaret and Ruth. They grew up in the same house, went to the same schools, worked similar jobs. Both retired at 62. Both had a full retirement age benefit of $2,000 a month. Margaret could not wait. 8 years felt like forever. She opened door 1 at 62 and started collecting $1,400 a month. She used that money to pay off her car. She helped her daughter with a down payment. She lived her early retirement years freely, with a check coming in, and it felt smart. Ruth was nervous about running out of money in her 80s. She talked to a friend who showed her the math. She kept working part-time until 67, living mainly off her savings. Then she walked through door 2 and started collecting her full $2,000 a month. 3 years later, at 70, Margaret was still getting $1,400 a month. Ruth decided she wanted the maximum. She worked a little longer, stayed patient, walked through door 3. Her check, $2,480 a month. Fast forward to age 83. Margaret has collected $294,000 in Social Security over 21 years. Ruth has collected $315,600 over 16 years. Ruth has already passed the break-even point, and she is getting $1,080 more every month than her sister, for the rest of both their lives. When Margaret's furnace breaks down, she feels it. When Ruth's prescription costs go up, she does not panic. Same starting point. Same lifetime of work. Completely different financial peace. The only difference was which door Ruth walked through. There is one more variable that changes everything for people who are married. Social Security has something called the spousal benefit. If your spouse did not work or earned significantly less than you, they can claim up to 50% of your full retirement benefit. Their monthly income depends directly on your record, which means your Social Security timing is not just your decision. It affects 2 lives. If you are the higher earner in your household and you claim at 62, you lock in a permanently reduced benefit. And when you die first, statistically, husbands die earlier. Your spouse inherits the larger of the 2 benefits. If yours is small, theirs becomes small. For the rest of their life. Widows and widowers who lost a spouse who claimed early are one of the most financially vulnerable groups in America. Not because they did anything wrong. Because their spouse made a door choice decades earlier that neither of them fully understood. If you are married, this decision is a team decision. Not just, when do I get my money? But, what does my partner live on after I am gone? For many couples, the right strategy is for the lower earner to claim at 62, bringing income into the household, while the higher earner waits until 70. This maximizes the survivor benefit without sacrificing all the early income. It requires coordination. It requires honesty about health and finances. But the couples who think it through together, they tend to have the most comfortable later years. I have been telling you numbers. 8% per year. 76% total increase. Break even at 82. Survivor benefits. Monthly differences in the hundreds. But I want to stop for a moment and say something that has nothing to do with math. I have seen families torn apart because one spouse claimed early without telling the other. Without sitting down and working it through together. Without knowing that the other person would outlive them by 12 years and spend the last decade of their life on a permanently reduced income. I have seen men and women who worked 40 years, who did everything right, who built something real, spend their final years calculating whether they can afford their medication because a door they chose in 15 minutes locked them into a smaller check for the rest of their lives. And I have seen the opposite too. I have seen people who waited, who were patient, who talked to their spouse, ran the numbers, decided to draw from savings a little longer, and at 80, 85, their income is still strong. They never had to choose between the electric bill and the doctor. That patience bought them something that no amount of early Social Security could have purchased. It bought them the ability to say yes. Yes to the visit from the grandchildren. Yes to fixing the roof without stress. Yes to staying in their home, in their neighborhood, surrounded by the people they love. That is what we are really talking about. Not a door. Not a check. We are talking about the shape of the last chapter of your life. And you get to write it. 3 doors. Door 1 at 62. Immediate income, permanent 30% reduction, $1,400 instead of $2,000. Right for people in poor health or genuine financial need. A decision too many people make without fully understanding the cost. Door 2 at 67. Your full earned benefit. Solid. Fair. The right call for many people who have other income sources to bridge the gap. Door 3 at 70. 76% more than Door 1. The highest guaranteed income your Social Security can produce. The door that wins mathematically for anyone who lives past 82. And the spousal strategy. Often, the lower earner takes Door 1 early, while the higher earner holds out for Door 3. Protecting the survivor. Thinking in decades, not months. Which door is yours? Only you know your health, your savings, your spouse's situation, your honest expectation of how long you plan to be here. But now you know the math. You know the real numbers behind each door. And you know why this decision deserves more than 15 minutes. If this gave you something to think about, share it with someone you love. A parent who is approaching this decision. A sibling who already made it and might want to understand why their check looks the way it does. A friend who is about to walk through a door without knowing what is on the other side. Leave a comment below. Tell me which door you are planning to choose, or which door you already chose. I read every single one. And in the next video, we are going to talk about the 3 wells. Once you know your Social Security strategy, where does the rest of your money live? How do you organize your savings so that a market crash cannot touch your income? We call it the bucket strategy, and it is the single most effective retirement structure most people have never heard of. Subscribe so you do not miss it. I will see you at the fortress.